Welcome to ADAS Garage, where we dive under the hood of advanced driver assistance systems. From calibrations to cutting-edge tech, we explore the innovations shaping the future of vehicle safety and automation. Buckle up, because the road ahead is smarter than ever. This podcast is brought to you by Burke Porter, helping shops scale ADAS calibration through automation with no upfront investment.
I want you to close your eyes for a second and just visualize the sound.
Right.
It's a sound none of us ever want to hear. That distinctive, sickening crunch. You're backing out of a tight spot, maybe at the grocery store. You're rushing. You misjudge the angle of a concrete pillar, and bam! Fender bender.
The classic oops moment. Yeah, happens to the best of us.
Exactly. Now, picture the aftermath, but let's go back in time, say 15 years. What happens next?
Right.
You get out, you look at the bumper, it's dented, maybe the plastic is cracked. You drive it to your local body shop. The guy there, let's call him Joe. He looks at it, grabs a hammer, bangs out the dent.
Slaps on some Bondo.
Slaps on some Mondo, sprays it with paint, and you hand him a check. It was a physical problem, with a purely physical solution. Metal, plastic, and paint.
It was a craft. It was almost like sculpture, basically. You were paying someone to reshape material.
But today, if you do that exact same damage in a 2025 sedan, or even a basic hatchback, oh, this story's completely different.
Totally different.
You haven't just crunched some plastic, you might have just blinded your car.
That is the scary reality. You've likely knocked a radar sensor out of alignment by just a fraction of a millimeter. And suddenly, your car's brain doesn't know where the car next to you is.
Wow.
It doesn't know how far away the wall is. It's not just body repair anymore. It's basically neurological surgery for the vehicle.
And that shift from sculpture to surgery is exactly what we are digging into today.
Yeah.
We're looking at how the humble auto body shop is being forced to undergo this radical identity crisis.
A big one.
We've got two fascinating articles by Bruno Moretti to guide us. One is from Motor Magazine called ADAS Calibration, From Compliance to Profit, and the other's from the Forbes Technology Council titled Why Body Shops Need to Think Like Tech Companies.
And Moretti is, he's the perfect Sherpa for this mountain. He's the president of aftermarket ADAS at Essential Technologies. So he is sitting right at that friction point where Silicon Valley tech slams into the blue-collar repair world.
He sees the code, but he also sees the wrench. The premise he lays out is really provocative. Moretti argues that a modern vehicle isn't a machine anymore. It's a rolling, interconnected software system. And here's the conflict that drives this whole deep dive. The industry responsible for fixing these systems is, it's largely still operating with a grease monkey mindset.
Right. They're trying to fix iPhones with sledgehammers. It's the collision of two worlds. You have these hyper-advanced systems, advanced driver assistance systems, or ADAS.
Automatic emergency braking, lane keep assist.
All that. And it's standard now. As of 2024, I think it was 90% of new vehicles had this tech.
90%. So this is not a niche luxury problem anymore. This isn't just people driving six-figure electric sedans.
Oh, far from it. It's the family hauler, the commuter car, the work truck. But the issue Moretti highlights is that most shops, they treat the calibration of these sensors, the software reset required after a crash, as a nuisance, a total hassle. They see it as a compliance box. Like, I have to do this software thing so I don't get sued. And Moretti's core argument is that if you view it that way, it just destroys your business. But if you view it as a tech company would, it's a gold mine.
So our mission today is to figure out how a collision shop pivots into a digital service business.
Right.
We're going to look at why the old way is failing so spectacularly, and trust me, it involves some ancient tools you won't believe are still in use.
Oh, I believe it.
And what the new way actually looks like. But before we get to the solution, I want to stick on the scale of this, because I think listeners might assume, well, my car is an economy model, surely my mechanic doesn't need a computer science degree.
And that assumption is, it's dangerous. The data completely refutes it. Moretti pulls a stat from Caliber 1 of the massive collision repair chains.
In U.S., yeah.
In the second quarter of 2025, they found that 65% of all repairs required ADS calibration.
Let's just pause on that number. 2 out of every 3 cars that limp into a shop need software work.
And they project that to hit 75% by 2027. So next year, If you're a shop owner, 3/4 of your workload involves this. You can't treat that as an occasional thing. It is the job now.
It's the main course, not the side dish.
Exactly.
Is this just consumer demand driving it? People wanting fancy gadgets, or is there a bigger hand pushing this?
It's the government, actually. The regulatory pressure is massive, and it's mostly invisible to drivers. Moretti points specifically to something called FMVSS 127.
FMVSS 127. Sounds like a droid from Star Wars.
Much drier, I promise.
And more legally binding, I assume?
Much more. It stands for Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standard 127. It's a U.S. regulation that's basically changing the entire landscape. It mandates that automatic emergency braking, AEB, and pedestrian detection must be standard on all new light vehicles by September 2029.
So by 2029, a car isn't legal to sell unless it can see someone crossing the street and stop itself, without you even touching the pedal.
Correct. Which means manufacturers are standardizing cameras, LiDAR, and radar across their entire lineups right now to prepare. What used to be a $2,000 tech package on a luxury SUV is becoming as standard as a seatbelt.
Okay, which explains the exploding volume. But here's what I don't get. If the volume is there and the demand is guaranteed by the government, why are shops struggling? Usually more demand is a good thing, right?
It's a good thing if your workflow can handle it.
Yep.
But Moretti describes this severe bottleneck caused by the old way of doing things. He calls it the hidden cost of workflow friction.
Workflow friction. That sounds like consultant speak for wasting a lot of time.
It is exactly that.
Yeah.
Let's look at the manual calibration process, the old way.
Yeah.
Say you replace a windshield on a modern car.
Okay.
There's a camera behind that glass that needs to be told exactly where it is in space. To do that manually, a technician has to set up physical targets.
So when you say targets, are we talking like archery targets?
Similar concept, yeah. They're boards with these distinct patterns, geometric shapes, checkerboards, that kind of thing, that the car's camera is programmed to recognize. But you can't just take them to the wall.
I'm guessing duct tape is out.
Duct tape is very much out. They have to be positioned with extreme precision, millimeter accuracy.
Okay, so you can't just eyeball it.
Absolutely not. So the technician has to clear out this huge space in the shop. The floor has to be perfectly flat, no slopes, no cracks. Then out come the tape measures, the plumb bobs.
Wait, plumb bobs? Like a weight on a string. In 2026, we're fixing a computer with a weight on a string.
A weight on a string. I'm not kidding. It's ancient technology to find a vertical line. They use laser alignment tools, wheel clamps, and they are crawling around on the concrete floor, measuring distances from the center of the wheels to the target stand. Okay, move it 2 millimeters left. Now check the angle.
That just sounds incredibly tedious.
It's agonizing. Moretti notes that this turns a calibration that should theoretically take 20 minutes into a 60-minute ordeal. And crucially, it shuts down the entire bay.
Right.
You can't have other cars moving around because of vibrations. Can't have someone walking through the laser line. It freezes a huge section of the shop.
And I'm guessing the person doing this isn't the new guy.
No, and that's the technician drag Moretti talks about. You have your master technician, someone you pay top dollar to diagnose complex electrical faults, and they're spending 45 minutes on their knees with a tape measure.
A massive misuse of talent.
It just destroys the shop's efficiency.
It's like asking a brain surgeon to mop the operating room floor for an hour before the surgery.
Perfect analogy. And then, on top of the wasted time, you have the human element. Moretti calls it the Monday morning versus Friday afternoon problem.
I can definitely relate to that. My email quality on a Friday at 4 p.m. is significantly lower than Monday at 9 a.m.
Same for mechanics, right? Humans get tired. We get distracted. Maybe the tech misreads the tape measure by 2 millimeters because they're rushing to get home. Maybe the lighting changed. Or the floor has a slight slope they didn't count for. That variance means the sensor is calibrated wrong.
And bringing it back to the beginning, if that sensor is calibrated wrong, even by a tiny bit, the car operates with bad data. It might brake for a phantom obstacle.
Or fail to brake for a real one. The liability is terrifying. So, to recap the problem, the manual way is slow, it wastes expensive talent, and it introduces dangerous inconsistency.
So what's the fix? If plumb bobs are out, what's in? Moretti talks about vision-guided automation. How is that different?
This is the big technological leap. Instead of a human using a tape measure to tell the target where to stand, the system uses its own cameras and depth sensors to see the car.
So the machine looks at the car rather than the human measuring it.
Right. The calibration system has its own eyes. It automatically identifies the vehicle's position. It calculates the center line of the car instantly, and it compensates for whether the car is parked a little crooked. And then This is the cool part. It self-aligns the targets.
The targets move themselves.
Some systems, yes, they're motorized. Or the system guides the technician digitally to the exact spot with indicators like move left, stop. It validates the measurements using software, not a human eyeball.
That has to be faster.
It changes the math completely. Moretti says this shifts the setup time from 45 minutes to under 10 minutes.
From 45 to under 10, that's not just an improvement, that's a transformation. You're getting nearly an hour of your day back per car.
But the speed is almost secondary to the predictability. And this is a key point in the motor article. Automation creates predictability. If the machine does the setup, it's done the exact same way for every single car, every single time. Monday morning, Friday afternoon, it doesn't matter.
So the output is standardized.
Exactly. Predictability leads to repeatability.
Right.
Repeatability leads to throughput. And throughput creates profit. You're processing more cars with less effort and zero rework.
There's another concept Moretti introduces here that I found really interesting. De-skilling. Usually when we hear that, it sounds negative for the worker.
Like robots taking jobs.
Yeah, leaving people with menial tasks. But he frames it differently here.
In this context, de-skilling is a positive operational strategy. It means you don't need your master technician to do the setup. Because the machine handles all the complex geometry and the precision, a junior technician can operate the calibration rig.
So your master tech goes back to doing the high-level brain surgery on the engine, the stuff that actually requires years of experience.
Right.
And the junior tech handles the sensor calibration using the automated tool.
You've optimized your workforce.
Precisely. Everyone is working at the top of their license, so to speak. And this connects to the lean methodologies Moretti discusses in the Forbes piece.
Lean is a term I usually associate with, like Toyota manufacturing or software startups. What does it mean in a body shop in Ohio?
At its core, lean is about ruthlessly eliminating waste. Waste in time, waste in motion, waste in rework. In a traditional shop, a tech walking back and forth to the tool chest 5 times is waste.
A car just sitting in a bay waiting for a target to be set up is waste. That's huge waste. He mentions a case study from a company called Techem.
I saw that.
Yeah, Techem applied these lean concepts, standardizing workflows, using visual cues, automating the bottlenecks, and they saw a 30% increase in capacity.
That's wild. They didn't build a bigger garage. They didn't hire more people. They just stopped wasting time.
That is the power of the tech mindset. And that is the bridge to the second article. Moretti's central thesis is that body shops have to stop thinking like mechanics and start thinking like tech companies.
I want to push on that a bit. Thinking like a tech company is kind of a cliche these days, right? Everyone wants to be the Uber of X. What does that actually mean for a guy named Sal running a collision center in New Jersey?
It's a valid skepticism. But Moretti breaks it down into concrete behaviors. First, it's the workforce. The grease monkey stereotype is dead.
Right.
The technician of 2026 needs to navigate software interfaces. They need to understand system diagnostics.
So Sal needs to hire people who are comfortable with iPads and code, not just wrenches and welding torches.
Or train the ones he has. Moretti mentions organizations like iCar are now offering specialized ADAS calibration courses to bridge that gap. But beyond the people, it's the business model. Think about how a tech company operates. They love data. They use APIs.
Okay, define API for the non-coders listening.
Sure. API stands for Application Programming Interface. Think of it as a digital messenger that lets 2 different software programs talk to each other without a human getting involved. In a body shop context, an API might let the shop's software talk directly to the insurance company's computer.
So instead of Sal calling the insurance adjuster, sitting on hold for 20 minutes and faxing a form over,
the systems just talk instantly. Repair approved, part ordered, invoice sent. That speed is how tech companies scale. They remove the human friction, and then there's the data analytics.
measuring everything.
Everything. A tech company knows exactly how long a task takes, down to the second. Moretti suggests shops need to track technician efficiency, calibration accuracy. If technician A takes 30% longer than technician B, the data tells you that.
And you can ask why.
Exactly. Maybe technician A needs training. Maybe their equipment is faulty. You can't manage what you don't measure. Tech companies measure everything. A lot of body shops just measure the bank balance at the end of the month.
That feels like a huge cultural shift. In the old days, as long as the car got fixed, nobody cared how long it took. Now, every minute is being optimized.
It's a shift from craft,
Yeah.
where every job is unique to process, where every job is standardized. And there's a survival aspect to this too. In a tech company, if you ship buggy code, an app crashes, you release a patch.
Right.
In a body shop, if your code, your calibration is buggy.
We're back to the blinded car. And you can't just
Yeah.
release a patch to a car that's already crashed because the brakes failed.
And the litigation. Moretti emphasizes that improper calibrations lead to denied reimbursements from insurance, but the real nightmare is a lawsuit. If a car crashes because the AEB didn't fire, and the investigation shows the sensor was angled 1 degree too high because of a manual error, the shop is on the hook.
So the tech mindset isn't just about making more money, it's risk management. You need that digital paper trail, the logs from the automated system, to prove you did it right.
Exactly. Here is the digital certificate showing the target was in the exact right spot at this time. You can't get that level of proof with a plumb bob and a handwritten note.
Let's talk about the carrot, though. We've talked a lot about the stick, the regulations, the liability, but Moretti calls this a pot of gold. Is there really that much money in calibrating sensors?
The numbers are staggering. The ADAS calibration services market is projected to reach $3.5 billion by 2033.
$3.5 billion. That is a serious chunk of change.
Yet it's growing at a compound annual growth rate of 12.5%. For a local business, that is a massive new revenue stream. But the real magic happens when you combine that growth with the automation we talked about.
Flipping the economics.
Right. Think about revenue per square foot. It's a classic retail metric, but it applies here. If a repair bay is occupied for an hour to do one manual calibration, and you charge, say, $300, that's $300 per hour for that space.
Okay, simple math.
Now, bring in the automated system. Setup takes 10 minutes. The whole job takes 20. You can now do 3 calibrations in that same hour. You've just turned that $300 hour into a $900 hour.
Without knocking down a wall, without building a new bay, without paying more rent.
You've tripled the revenue density of that patch of concrete. That transforms a cost center, this regulatory stuff, into a profit engine. Bring me more calibrations because that is my highest margin work.
And Moretti points out this is even more critical for the big players, the MSO multi-shop operators.
The Calibers, the Gerber Collisions, the big corporate chains, for them it's all about standardization. If they use connected automated systems, they can enforce the same workflow across 500 locations.
Which lets them go to a big insurance carrier, a Geico or a State Farm, and make a really big promise.
Exactly. They can say, we guarantee this turnaround time and this accuracy rate across our entire network.
Yeah.
That gives them a massive strategic advantage. They become the safe bet for insurers.
So where does that leave the little guy? The independent shop on the corner. If the big chains are weaponizing this tech, is the independent shop doomed?
Not necessarily. Moretti actually argues that independent shops can be more agile. They can adopt this tech faster than a giant corporation can steer its ship. He says, the shops that succeed won't be the ones with the cheapest equipment. They'll be the ones that eliminate friction.
So speed and precision are the great equalizers. If a small shop can turn a car around in 2 days because they've automated calibration and the big chain takes a week, the small shop wins.
Exactly. But if they stick to the old ways, if they insist on the tape measures and the that's how we've always done it attitude, they'll be left fighting for scraps. They won't get insurance referrals because their cycle times are too slow.
It really feels like we are at an inflection point. The industry is splitting into 2 tiers. The modern data-driven vehicle labs and the dying breed of traditional garages.
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
The car has evolved. The repair process has to evolve right along with it. You can't service a 21st century robot with 20th century tools.
So let's recap what we've pulled from Bruno Moretti's deep dive today. 1, the car is no longer just mechanical, it's a sensitive computer on wheels. 2, the volume of repairs needing software calibration is hitting 75% basically now, driven by government mandates.
Right.
3, the old manual ways involve literal weights on strings and are a bottleneck that wastes talent and creates risk. And 4, the solution is to automate, trust the vision technology, and run your shop with the discipline of a software company.
That sums it up perfectly. And for me, the biggest takeaway is that mindset shift. It's stopping the view of calibration as a necessary evil and seeing into the future of the business. It's embracing the invisible part of the repair.
It's a fascinating evolution, and it leaves me with a thought for you, the listener. Next time you take your car in for a repair or just routine service, take a look around the shop floor. Does it look like a traditional garage, smelling like oil with wrenches scattered everywhere?
Does it look like a lab?
Exactly. Because as our cars become these incredibly complex software ecosystems, you have to wonder, will the local mechanic as we know it even survive the decade? Or will repair become the exclusive domain of high-tech, data-driven facilities? And if so, what is that going to do to the cost of keeping our cars on the road?
That is the multi-billion-dollar question, and the answer is going to affect everyone who owns a set of keys.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Drive safe and make sure your sensors are calibrated.
See you next time.